Hi everybody, I'm Andrew Cohn. I want to say thank you very much for watching my video. I really appreciate everybody taking part in the Facebook group, the People's Discussion. It's great. I'm super happy to see that it's kicking off and people are actually having discussions within that group. Um, Next, I'd like to say is today I'm talking to you about my idea for campaign finance reform on my paper, An Agreement Between People and Politicians. Before we get into that, I'd like to say please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, or join my Facebook group, The People's Discussion. The other important part is please share my video. Without you sharing my video, I can't get my voice out to more and more people. With your help, we can grow my Facebook group, our Facebook group and YouTube channel, The People's Discussion. And with that, we can gain even more ideas on how to improve this paper and we can get more support for it. So I want to say thank you very much ahead of time for helping me out with that. Thank you. So, to move on to campaign finance reform. All right, the first thing I said was no more super PACs. These are 501c4 fundraisers that many people donate into and give to campaigns. They're tax exempt. They're not tax exempt as far as I'm aware. That is why they're not totally transparent with their donations and what they're actually sending, who's donating to them and who they're sending them to. Well, they're pretty transparent with who they're sending them to. It counts, in my opinion, as buying a politician. There's tons and tons of money that go into these fundraisers. And I think this, in general, goes into other rules I have. The other thing is, the next part is, no more rich, wealthy elites dumping millions into politicians or any other office's campaigns. This comes with other rules I think that should be in place. So, basically, I'm trying to prevent rich, wealthy people from being able to donate millions. There's people who have done that many times, like, for instance, George Soros. Many celebrities have done that. Public figures have done that. And when I say these things, I say none at all. I am not playing favorites when I make this paper. This paper is not geared towards anybody in general. This is geared towards everybody that is in a public office. I am not playing favorites. I am not choosing sides. So I want everybody to know that when I say these things. The next part is, and we're going to continue on, we'll get to the parts where you see that things kind of go hand in hand, is there should be a campaign spending cap that is realistic for any party to create equal representation so the masses can hear their voice. I believe this is definitely necessary. Having a big budget doesn't mean they'll win, but it definitely gives them an edge over others. And I can say that because I had somebody in my district where in the previous election who had a very big budget because no matter where I went, YouTube, Facebook, anywhere on the internet that has ads, anywhere on television that has ads, I could see her ad no matter where I went, and you barely ever saw the person running against her's ad, ever. It was very hard to come across. I had to look it up myself, and I think that's a bit of an issue because that definitely curbs votes, and I think people need to equally see each person running in their district or even for the presidency or any political office in general. I think people should see the options that they have, and I think people need to see what each individual who's running for an elected office stands at. And a lot of these ads don't cover that. A lot of these ads tend to bash what another politician says. And I know many of you can say, well, both sides do that. I 100% agree. Both sides do that. Trump did it. Hillary Clinton did it. Biden did it. Everybody did it. Everybody's done it. If you can name them, they've done an ad like that. So I totally 100% agree. Oh, I got that highlighted. Yeah. So having a much larger budget can squash lesser parties, and that is what I just explained to you with regards to the ads that I've been getting on my YouTube and all that I've been watching. So it can create a scene, and now this is important because basically having all those ads, it can actually really put down who is popular and who is not popular. It can create a perception of how things are going within political campaigns. You see one ad all the time, but you don't see the other person running's ad at all. It can create that perception that that person isn't very popular and this person is. And there are, and I'm not saying any of you watching this video are this way, but there's people who will vote for the person they think are going to win. And with that kind of thing, when you have tons of money and you can have ads everywhere, people will think that person is very popular and they're going to be the ones that win, and that's the reason why they run that. So, I think it's important to make sure that we get everybody on equal level. So, that is an important thing that I have covered here. The next part is campaign donations should be more easily available for transparency. Transparency brings accountability. To prove to us that special interests, rich elites, and corporations are not in control. That needs to be, I think, and I cover some of this in the parties part of this paper, where I talk about the party basically being in control of everything. One thing I'll bring up in that is there was a Democrat that was actually running against Gavin Newsom in California. Everybody sees that. God, what's his name? I completely forgot his name. Everybody's seen the Republican who's running against Gavin Newsom, but nobody's ever seen the Democrat that's actually running against him. There's been many occasions where the political party, the Democratic Party, has completely pushed him out. Didn't allow him in debates, nothing. So it shows you in those situations that the parties are actually deciding who they want to run for a political office. They want Gavin Newsom in the political office. They don't want anybody else running against him. So they're going to try and squash or push people out. And I think that's completely wrong. And I think that that's basically what happened to Bernie Sanders in the 2016 election and kind of in the 2020 election. Bernie Sanders got the short end of the stick because they wanted Hillary Clinton. And look what happened to her. Nobody wanted Hillary Clinton. But anyway, moving on. So with the transparency bringing accountability and all that, transparency also helps show that the rules that are in place in this paper are being followed. That is definitely hand in hand with accountability. So that is a good thing in my opinion. And the next part of my ideas is campaign spending should be transparent and listed for all to see. This goes hand in hand with the transparency of campaign donations, because honestly, seeing what the party is spending their money on, I think, is important because it also brings accountability with it. It shows that the spending cap that I would like to have put in place for campaigns, because we're going to be going into that here in a minute. But it shows that all the rules are being followed. It shows they're not overspending or they're sending their money to specific people. It's the same thing for donations. You don't see people donating millions to specific campaigns. But anyway, let's go on to the next part. There will be a donation cap for individuals to prevent from anyone being bought by any rich, wealthy elite. This also prevents them from sending money to an individual within the district of a campaign to donate large sums of money. Another idea that goes hand in hand with another one, which I believe is actually next. But basically, donation cap is necessary to limit the amount of influence an individual, corporation, union have. It keeps the rich elites from giving money to others to donate mass amounts of money to politicians. So basically, I'm trying to make it, and I'll just read the next, let's see here. I'll just read the next one. No one can put together a fundraiser. That's for no super PACs. So you can see no one can put together a fundraiser to donate to a campaign with money from multiple individuals or businesses. That's basically what a super PAC is. That no donation packs or nothing. So here we are, right here. A person can no longer donate to a campaign they do not live within the district of. This helps prevent rich, wealthy elites from dumping millions into campaigns throughout the country. And that there's many occasions where we can see that. George Soros is one where he's donated money to the DA of Minnesota here. They've also donated money to the DA in, I believe, Washington, Oregon, and also California and Los Angeles. I think that's completely wrong. George Soros and these rich, wealthy elites who don't even live anywhere near these locations do not speak for the people in these locations. The people who live in those districts or states or whatever campaign is running, they do not speak for them. Somebody who lives in New York does not have the best interest or understanding of the political ideology of a district more so than the people living in those districts. I think it's completely twisted that can happen. And that's why I have the donation cap. And that is why I say they can't donate in other campaigns outside of the district that they're living in. This is to prevent from this kind of national manipulation, this national influence that rich people, these elites, can create throughout the country. And I think this has been happening too long. I think the only people that should be able to donate to a campaign are the people within the district of said campaign. So, and we showed that video. I showed that video of what the goal of this group was last week, where I had that map, that big pink map on I can't remember what I bookmarked it, but I can't remember what the name of the website was. But basically, it showed all the districts and all the politicians that are within those districts. You see that area in that video that I marked for a district. The only people that can donate to a campaign for that district is that district. Nobody else outside it. If you live outside that district, you cannot donate to that campaign. I think this is necessary. I think nobody outside of that district can say what that district wants. That's my honest opinion on it. And I'm not sure if you guys disagree with that. Please let me know on that. I think this is necessary. I really do. I'm going to be sticking to this one. I really am. Anyway, so to the next one. No foreign person, business, or organization of any sort can donate to any political campaign. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. Basically, if a foreign company or foreign person or any entity in general is donating to our politics, that is outside influence, and I don't think that is right. The only people that should be able to donate to any of our political campaigns are actually, in fact, American citizens. And I've been lenient with legal immigrants, because legal immigrants, they work hard to be here, and they pay taxes. And I do believe in the idea of no taxation without representation. I think that they do deserve, if you pay taxes as a legal immigrant, you do deserve some form of representation. I really do. So if you guys have a differing opinion on that, or you think that there's other ways to improve upon that, please let me know in the comments of this video. Or on Facebook in the people's discussion. I can ask a question like that and see what you guys have to say. That's why I think it's very important that you join the group, is because then we can have these discussions and I can hear your voice. Anyway, so the next part is all political donations, regardless of where they come from, should be transparent and be public record. That's just blatant, obvious accountability and honesty. I and we've already covered that a couple times. This means any political fundraiser that is a 501c3 or a 501c4 will be public record. And we've covered this, I believe, a little bit ago. It's to prevent 501c4 nonprofits from being able to donate millions of dollars to super PACs. Well, actually, not to super PACs, but to politicians. I believe super PACs count as 501c4. And I believe I already went over that. So we're going to go ahead and move on. I'm going to go ahead and read this part that I wrote because this is a little bit of the meat and potatoes, and it's a little more organized than me just trying to ad-lib this whole thing. I basically said, I think campaign finance reform is very important due to the fact that much of the money that's donated to politicians' campaigns can and will just go into the pockets of politicians. And I actually looked that up a bit. Basically, that is not entirely true. From what I remember reading in an article that I looked up, it basically, when they're done with their campaigns, they got to donate the money to like their party or to fundraisers, non-profits. Now, here's the thing. For instance, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with something that everybody knows about. It's like, for instance, Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton Foundation, as far as I'm aware, considering it's a politically driven foundation, nonprofit, it is actually a 501c4. I haven't looked that up, but we're going to count it as a 501c4. But for now, anyway. I'll look that up, or you can correct me in the comments section, and we can go from there. But basically, we're going to say the Clinton Foundation's a 501c4, and they're a nonprofit. Hillary Clinton could take all that money that she got in her campaign after spending $1 billion on advertisements for her campaign, and she could take all that money and donate it right to the Clinton Foundation because, that's allowed according to the rules of what's going on in our current system. That means all that money goes into her pocket, because a 501c4 is not tax exempt. So all those donations don't have to be shown. They just have to be given to the not given to the IRS, but you're basically having to claim taxes on it. So, but a 501c3 is different, where they are tax exempt. They have to show everything. So you can actually look up, for instance, PETA, what PETA makes for donations. I think you can actually look that up. They don't count as a 501c4. But in fact, for the person who runs it, the lady who runs it, can't remember her name, but she actually also owns a 501c4. People don't read the fine print, and they're actually, when they're donating to, let's say PETA, they're actually donating to her 501c4 instead of her 501c3, which means only some of the money is actually going to the 501c3 while she pockets the rest of it and has it taken in taxes. So it's a really twisted situation. But basically, this is going to have to be done a little more research on my part. I'll admit that firsthand. But this is just my idea of it. So instead, right here, the money should be either put into a campaign fund for future campaigns or redistributed back. Because of this flaw, many corporations and rich elites take advantage of this and donate large sums of money to campaigns directly or through fundraisers and super PACs. I believe this is a means of creating influence within the system itself. Those with large amounts of money can influence the government much more than those without, and that is wrong. The job of a representative or senator, or any elected official, is to represent the will of the people in their district and not just the rich elite. This, once again, attracts the wrong kind of people into these positions. And that is right. With these kind of campaign reforms, with many of these reforms that I have for ideas in this paper, the whole goal is to get rid of the wrong type of people who are running for these positions. There are many people who are going into these positions simply just to get rich quick. For instance, with a lot of the pay and whatnot, I said that politicians can't be paid by making speeches. They can't be paid by making deals with other people. The only wages they can make while they're in office are the wages they make as a elected official, the wages of that position. And that is what I'm getting at, because I'm trying to prevent the wrong type of people from taking these positions just to get rich quick and screw the people, right? No, we need people in these positions that do know and understand the needs, necessities, and the political ideologies of these districts. And they take them seriously, and they're there to serve, not to serve themselves. So, anyway, back to it. All right. I believe this means of creating. Okay, where we were past that. Those with large amounts of money can influence the government much more than those without. And that is wrong. The job of a representative or senator or any elected official is to represent the will of the people in their district and not just the rich elite. And I already went over that. This is why I should bring my mouse along with it. This once again attracts the wrong kind of people into the positions. I believe by having a donation cap on individuals can prevent this from happening. Also, I believe that by making it so that only people who live in the district of said person running for office can donate to said campaign, the only people who can influence that elected official are the people within that district. By making it so that only the people within that district can donate, rich elites won't be able to influence elected officials across the nation, and by having a donation cap, they won't be able to just funnel those millions to people in each district to donate for them. Another issue we have today is one side can use so much money to completely drown out other smaller political parties, not allowing people to see the diversity of thought that could, in my opinion, help the country become better than it was before. And there was actually this is something I can bring up from the Facebook group that I have called the People's Discussion. A gentleman by the name of, I'm not going to say his full name, but Ben, we'll say. Ben is a very common name. Anybody can have that name. But Ben shared an article by I think the New York Times where they talked about what if instead of having a 2-party system, we had a 6-party system. And then they had a whole test where you could actually find out what party you would sit with. And I actually thought that was really interesting because I think having more parties than just the 2 parties in this country would be more beneficial than the 2-party system, because I think that would bring in more direct representation. I think it would really separate the power that these 2 parties have and spread that power amongst them all. These 2 parties that we currently have Democrats and Republicans, have way too much power, and it's blatantly showing right now. It's bad. And I think by having more parties involved, having spending caps on campaigns, making sure all the parties are basically equally represented for everybody to see and understand and hear their opinions, I think that will, on its own, in its own way, take power out of major parties and actually start giving it back to the people as well. I know it's hard to believe, but that's why I have many of these. It's not just one thing that's going to fix the whole thing. It's going to be a series of rules that we put in place that can actually take and remove the power from parties and give it to the people. And I have much more of that in this paper. Anyway, having a spending cap that is reasonable for each party to meet will help stop certain political parties from influencing media and other major tech companies. And we're seeing that today with media such as like CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, all these journalist organizations, channels, so on and so forth. You can see it with Facebook, Google, Amazon, and all these other major tech companies that sit under Article 230, and a lot of a lot of the reason why we're having a lot of issues with these tech companies is because nobody's willing to enforce Section 230 to begin with. So, anyway, we're going to move on from here because I've already got my point across on that. Last, by reassuring the transparency of each campaign spending, we can assure the public through this transparency that there isn't corruption happening within the party or campaign itself. And by making donations transparent as well, this can show that these campaigns are following the rules by not allowing people outside the districts they are running for to donate. The whole point of this is for a fair election where no one can be influenced, where no one can influence the individuals that are supposed to be serving the people. In other words, the only people that should be influencing a senator or a representative are the people that are within their district. Nobody outside it. So I wouldn't be able to donate to somebody, let's say, that is running for a political office in Virginia. I don't live in Virginia. What reason do I have to be voting for or donating to that person's campaign? So there you go. But yeah, that's basically my ideas for campaign finance reform. If you guys have ideas that can add, improve upon, or you think that should be removed or adjusted, please let me know in the comments section or let me know on the Facebook group. Discuss this. That's all I'm asking for. Discuss it and share the video so more people can see these ideas. See that people are actually talking about these sorts of topics, that it's not just a lost cause. Without all of you, nothing in the government can change. We all need to agree upon these things. I think it's important for that. And I think it's important that we need to discuss this because we may not all agree on these individual things, but we can definitely discuss these things and come to a consensus on a lot of this. And I think that's important. And I think there's a lot of things in this paper that people who are on both sides of the political spectrum can agree with and can come together on. And that's my goal here, is to bring people together. So once again, thank you for watching my video, and you all have a good night.